Welcome to Bunnyfish Crafts. I'm your host Heather, known as Bunnyfish on Ravelry, Plurk, Instagram, and YouTube. Today is Monday, the 23rd of December, 2013, and this is episode 58, Christmas Wrap-Up. Grab some sticks and string and come sit with me. Christmas is this week. For most people, celebrating will be happening on the 25th. For me, it will be happening around the 28th. My sister and her children are visiting this coming weekend, and we will do Christmas then. My kids don't know dates, so Christmas is when Christmas happens. They know it's soon, and they're excited. Gabriel keeps asking if Santa's coming tonight, and I keep telling him no soon, but they're excited, but they don't know the date, so happening on the 28th will be the same as if I did it on the 25th. Probably better because their cousins will be here. The sweater knit along is still going on. It goes on through December 31st. Tag is BPH sweater. Your chances of winning are super good, especially if you're Hazel. Christmas is coming, and 5 days ago I sat down and I was like, okay, what needs to be finished before Amanda gets here and before she leaves, because she is taking some things back home with her when she goes. So I sat down and I wrote a list, and it was 10 days away from the 28th. So it was the 18th. I wrote the list. 19th maybe? I don't know. I figured out I needed to finish 10 things. So I needed to finish one project a day. And some of those are easy. Some are like start to finish in a day sort of things. And some of them are a little bit longer term, which is fine because that means I've been going monogamous for part of the day. And then when I finish the project, then I work on the other projects that take longer. I have a lot of finished objects, but 3 of them have been sent off in the mail. So the first one is the one that I really, really felt needed to get in the mail. It is a blanket. I did not make the squares. I just pieced it together. I am a moderator over in the Skylar Blanket Project group on Ravelry. And what that is a group that collects squares, knit or crochet, 8 inches in washable materials. We collect squares and then piece them together and give them to people who have lost children. In memory of Skylar, I wanted to get that out because I don't know if Skylar's family celebrates Christmas. But if they do, celebrating holidays after you lose somebody is really, really difficult, especially if this is the first Christmas without Skylar. So it was really important to me that that got out, and it is there. It was delivered. So that's good. The other 2 were gifts for friends, so I mailed them out. The first is a cowl that I made up the pattern for as I was going. I had this really gorgeous skein of yarn from C. Jean Knit. I don't know if this store is still active on Etsy, but I'll put up a link and see. The yarn is 75% wool, 25% acrylic, and it was 150 grams for 150 yards. And the colorway was Mermaid Tail. I got the yarn from a woman who was destashing her stuff, and she was trading yarn for stories. So I told her a story and she sent me a bunch of yarn, and that was one of them. It's been in my stash for a couple years now, and maybe a year, maybe only over a year now. I don't know, but it's just been sitting there, and I don't usually use really bulky yarn to make things. And I was like, oh, this yarn would be perfect for my friend, perfect color. So I made this cowl, and hopefully she loves it. The other thing that got sent off were the stalagmite socks that I was making by Cookie A using Miss Babs Yummy in a Prince colorway. That was made using US size 1 2.25 millimeter needles. Sorry, my cat just jumped on my desk. I am really distracted today. The weather over the weekend was mid 60s and today it's down to I think this morning it was like 17 or something. I don't know. So I have a headache that won't quit. I took ibuprofen this morning when I woke up at 5 and that didn't do anything. Nothing. So it's now 6 hours later and I just took some Tylenol. So hopefully that will help. Last week I was saying that I was worried about running out of yarn, so I did work through the gusset on the second sock. I put them on a long circular and I was fine. I had enough yarn. I had 2 grams left over, so enough for a blanket enough for a square for my sock yarn blanket. They turned out fantastically. I'm really pleased with them. Onto what I have here, which I always like talking about things when I have them here instead of having to show you pictures because then I remember things a little bit better. You remember my mom was here and she went home with the mitts and someone at her work really liked the mitts that I made her. And my mom was like, "Can you make another pair?" And I was like, no, I can't make another pair of those because the yarn that I used was Vesper and I didn't have yarn left over to make another pair. So what I made at my mom's request was a pair of Rockstratas in similar colors, gray, red, black, which are the Red Wing colors, which is the hockey team in Michigan, where I'm from. So these are the mitts. I used for this some random red acrylic from my stash. And then Caron Simply Soft is the gray, and I don't know what color that is, but I assume some sort of gray. And then Caron 1 pound in black. That's how the Rockstratas turned out. Patterned by Josh Ricks. He used US size 7 4.5 millimeter needles for those. And while my mom was asking for mitts, she was also like, "And will you make me some slippers like the ones that you made for yourself?" So I made my mom a pair of seamless Salomas using the same red acrylic because my mom makes like everything out of acrylic yarn. So I didn't want to make her something that she couldn't throw in the washing machine. I know I made those mitts and I was like, hand wash the mitts, but hand warmers and mitts don't really need to be washed that frequently. Slippers, however, probably, I wash mine pretty frequently, so maybe she'll have to wash hers pretty frequently. I don't know, but here are Seamless Lomas by Megan Williams and Susan Busby. These are worked on US size 6 4.0 millimeters. What I did do with the leftover Vesper sock yarn in the Hellfire colorway is I made the pair of socks for my nephew Kenny. So his socks, the stripes don't match up, but they do start at the same place, so they kind of match, just not the colors. Anyway, Kenny loves my mom. I would say that my mom is Kenny's favorite person. I would say that. Maybe that's not still true, but that was true when he was little. So I thought he would have a kick out of having socks that were the same colors as my mom's mitts. And the variegated is Science Monkey Mercantile Faraday sock in Texecuted. I used this to make the hat, the Royal Iris slouch for my friend Becca. So I just had a little bit left over. So I made Kenny some tube socks. It goes toe, stockinette, then 7x1 rib, then 3x1 rib, and then right at the top there are, I don't know, 5 rounds of 1x1 rib. Worked on US size 1, 2.25 millimeters. And the last thing I have been hinting at for a couple weeks, and the pattern was just released yesterday. This is the, I don't remember the name, the Fern Shards by Josh Ricks. It is the last pattern in the club that he is doing with Mayor Gale of Spartacus Dyes. And this is it. This is a shawl. It uses 2 colors of yarn. So mine is made using Science Monkey Mercantile Faraday sock in Chattahoochee, which is this variegated black and gray color. And the pretty blue-green color is Solar Flare Fibers in the sea glass colorway. And the base is Apollo, which is 80% BFL, 20% nylon. And it is going to be hard to give this up. I mean, this is a gift for my best friend because she saw my what is it called? I can't remember. The mystery shawl that I did earlier this year for the ZK, also a Josh Ricks design. Graphic Infection. She saw my Graphic Infection and she's been hinting that she would like a shawl. And I was like, well, I'll make a different Josh pattern because I don't like to repeat things too often. I know I've made like a bajillion slippers and a bajillion rock stratas, but a shawl, I don't know if I could bring myself to make the same shawl again. It's so many more stitches, so much more time. So anyway, here it is. Let me get up close. Some places you hold the yarn double, some places you hold the yarn singularly, and mix the colors so it looks like there's 3 colors of yarn. I'm hoping that Becca likes it. She should. She picked the colors. So, and she wanted a shawl that was similar to mine, which this is, except that this is really shallow. Like my Graphic Infection is, but it's super, super long. It's longer than my wingspan by probably 8 inches to a foot. But it's not any longer than my Graphic Infection is. So this is it. This pattern won't be available for 3 months to the public because it was a club pattern. But it's something to put in your queue if you like it. It was really, really fast. The testing period was really short because it was for a club and deadlines and stuff. So I think that I got the pattern on, I could be making this up, but I think I got it on a Friday, started it on a Saturday, and was done with it on Tuesday. Works really, really fast. Size 8 needles, which is 5.0 millimeters. What have I been working on? Well, I started 4 of the other things, or have been working on 4 of the other things. Actually, I think they're all new, except for one. The dog for my nephew is now closer to completion. I am working on the head. All I have left are the head, the body, and putting it all together. So I'm probably going to finish this today. I'm thinking that would be a good project to have done today. But I might work on something else today. That pattern is Sweet Pup Crochet by Terry Crews. I'm using Caron 1 pound in black, white, and forest floor. And a US size G6 4.25 millimeter hook. I can't wait to have that done. I'm just not feeling the stuffed animal, but he will like it, and that's the important thing. I think I burned myself out on crocheting stuffed animals when I made all of those owls. And I'm probably going to make more owls again soon. Craziness. Anyway, I started another pair of Rockstratas because they're fast and amazing. So I have the first one done. And I'm working on the second one, which I might finish today, but I might not. I don't know. Kind of feeling a little bit about working on projects today. I am using Red Heart Super Saver in coffee. It's this dark brown. This creamy beigey color is buff, and this tan color is called warm brown. Again, US size 7, 4.5 millimeter needles. I'm almost done. I'm almost to where you split for the thumb. I have a few more rounds to go. I should probably finish those today, right? Just so they can be done. Finish those, finish the dog. Then I will be ahead of schedule by a day for what I need to finish. I started working on leg warmers, which really... Okay, so they're pink, which is great for the recipient, who is Melissa, Amanda's friend. That's great for her, but it's pink. Just not, I don't know. Just don't want to work with the pink. I've been forcing myself to do a pattern repeat. I'm only a few pattern repeats in, but I've been forcing myself to do a pattern repeat when I finish a project. So it's a fine pattern. It's fine. I just don't want to. I don't know. I don't want to work with this yarn right now. Not the yarn itself. I just don't want to. I don't want to work with these colors right now. I'm being a big baby. Maybe I should just only work with red, because last week I did a ton of red and I really liked it. Now I'm using Sensations Bamboo and You pattern in the pink red pattern. I have problems with people who name yarn colors that don't make sense. There isn't red in here. There's pink and gray purple and gray, and then a light pink with gray splatters, and then a dark pink. Where's the red? Maybe because pink is just red with white added, they think that they should throw red in there. But I think it's pretty well established that pink is a color in its own right, separate from red, even though it's not. Anyway, this is the Prima Leg Warmers by Sarah Wilson. I'm using US size 4 3.5 millimeter needles. And I started Robert socks. I started them, I did the cast on a couple days ago, but really I started them this morning because I did the cast on and that's it. So I'm through the toe, and they're going to be stripy. I'm using Sensations Soles and More in the green, blue, yellow soles and more. Do you see yellow? I don't see any yellow in here. Again, with the colors that don't make sense. I don't know. But yeah, those will be his socks. They'll be the same similar pattern to Kenny's, which is just tube socks with ribbing gradually. kind of where I feel like changing up the ribbing. And I got these through the toes this morning so that I would be able to work on them while editing, because it's just, the next part is just stockinette for a while. So yeah, I need to get everything that I just showed you done by Saturday, and I don't think that's going to be difficult at all. Plus I have a hat that I need to make. I'm pretty sure that's super, super doable. And then I have a couple other, probably more than a couple. I have a few other projects that I wanted to get done before the end of the year, including Marilee socks, which I haven't worked on, and my Nebula socks, which I haven't worked on. So I'll be picking those up as soon as I finish all of these things, or if I need a break from all of these things, which might happen. And I might cast on the other project that I wanted to finish by the end of the year. We'll see. They're socks for me. I'm going to show you the yarn because it makes me really happy. I'm going to use the Waklela Falls pattern that was gifted to me by Lisa with this yarn. It's a variegated, and it's Knit Picks Stroll Fingering Sorbet Multi. I really want to just, I feel like a lot of what I've been working on, aside from the red, I think I was drawn to the red because it's so bright and vibrant, and everything that I'm working on is kind of subdued. Like even this pink is muted pinks, except for the one bright pink, but I just feel like everything I'm working on is so muted, and even though it's been sunny here about half of the time, it's still kind of dreary. There are no leaves, so I think I just need this in my day to make things go faster. So I might cast this on before I finish things. I don't know yet. We'll see. Let's go to the sock yarn blanket because there has been progress on that. Last week I said I was going to make a square after every project that I finished, and I have been doing that. So here are the first two. You might recognize these yarns because they are mine. This is the Science Monkey Mercantile in Texcuted that I used in the Royal Iris and Kenny Socks, and this is Science Monkey Mercantile in Chattaboogie that I used in the Fern Shards shawl. So there's the Vesper and Hellfire from Kenny Socks, and here is the Miss Babs Yummy in Prince. And then I started using the yarn that I got from Jerry. So here is the first square. But the scrap wasn't quite big enough to make an entire square. So what I'm going to do is use a coordinating color to make another square and see if there is enough scrap to finish off the square. And if not, then I'll just have to make a different coordinating square and try to finish off with that. So there's my sock yarn blanket, and last week I was asked in the thread how many squares were in the sock yarn blanket, and I figured it out, but I forgot to post. So there are about 350, just over. Not quite 360 yet though. It's still in that range. I think it's like 350, 352, 353. I don't know. I can't remember what square was the last one that I had made before I did the count. And yeah. So right around 350, I am going for 776 squares. Each of the big squares counts as 4. Oh, my sock yarn blanket. I got some nice things in the mail this week. I got a package from my friend Lisa for Christmas, and she sent me this awesome scarf hat combination. We had been looking through some things through some patterns while we were in a VKN, and I was like, I love that hat and scarf, but I don't like to make scarves. I don't find it enjoyable, so she remembered and she made it for me. And every time Gabriel sees me wearing this, he tries to steal it. He wants it so badly, and sometimes I let him wear it, and sometimes I'm like, No, I'm wearing the hat scarf. It's for me. He just likes all of the things that I have. But I have a couple scarves, so I let him wear one of the other ones. And also, no, this way. Also, she sent an ornament for my tree. It's this cute little felted polar bear. It's so cute. It's got rosy cheeks. Oh, I love it so much. It's adorable. And it's been on my tree, and Gabriel keeps like poking its nose and stuff. So it's awesome. It is Gabriel approved. The whole package was Gabriel approved. I finished reading Devoted by Hilary Duff. Much better than Elixir. I just think that Elixir was very, it was very kind of, it was crazy. They were going all these places and doing all these things, and Devoted was much more, I don't know. It was less frantic. I enjoyed it more. I wouldn't say it's like my favorite book ever, but it was decent. I am sure there's going to be a third one. Left it open for that. I will probably pick that one up too, and I will probably be like, oh, why am I reading this? But the second one wasn't horrible. It was okay. Much better than the first one. I'm still listening to A Dance with Dragons, and I am pretty sure that, okay, so Jenna from 716 Knit told me that she had heard or read or somehow gathered the information that two of the books in the A Game of Thrones series, what is that called? A Song of Fire and Ice, maybe? I don't know. I don't remember what the series is. That two of the books run concurrently, and I am pretty sure that it's book 4 and 5. I told you in book 4, which was A Feast for Crows, that my favorite characters were not in the book. Well, book 5 is basically only my favorite characters talking, and the events are happening at the same time as the events in book 4. So I'm pretty sure that these are the books that she was talking about, and I am loving book 5. Pretty sure book 5 is the last one that is out right now, which means I'm going to have to wait to find out what happens in the story. And I'm almost done. I'm listening to it. There are 38 discs, and I am on disc 25 or 26. So getting close to the end, and I'm going to be sad when I'm at the end, because that will mean that the book is over. And I'm pretty sure that that means that the series will be over for me for a little bit. Random side note, I try not to read series that aren't finished or don't have like a very strict schedule for publishing, because I like to know how long I have to wait. I'm having this problem with a trilogy that I started reading. It's called The Kingkiller Chronicle by Patrick Rothfuss, and I found the first book at the library and devoured it. I actually read it as part of a book club, and I was like, this is amazing. So then I got the second one, and I didn't look at how far apart they were published, but I think it was a few years. And I've been waiting for the third one for a while, and I'm pretty sure at last check that there was no scheduled publication date for the third one. Oh, tragedy. I hate waiting for books. I just want the book to be, it's not done being written yet. It's not that it doesn't have a publication date because they're just making it up. It's still being written, which is frustrating for me. Anyway, started reading a new book. It is the third book in the Divergent series. I thought it was going to be a trilogy. Maybe it's going to be more than 3 books. I'm hoping it's just a trilogy though. Since I was pretty sure it was a trilogy. Anyway, it might be a series. It is Allegiant by Veronica Roth. I talked about the first two books, Divergent and Insurgent. And I'm not very far in it, 65 pages out of 350 or so. No, not 350. Sorry, 530 pages or so. And I don't want to put it down. Because I have Christmas knitting to do, I have been keeping it to only reading before bedtime. And I don't want to put it down at night. So that will probably be finished by next week because I don't want to put it down at night. I've only been reading it 2 nights, and I allowed myself to get 60 pages in instead of like only 5 pages a night, which is probably what I should do. I really, really recommend the series a lot. I think it's really, really good. And the box set is out in case you see this and you want to buy someone something awesome for Christmas. I highly recommend those books. It kind of reminds me of a little bit of a mix between like not the Hunger Games, but not the crazy killing part, but it's got sort of a similar vibe to it, and M. Night Shyamalan's The Village. So it's kind of a mix between that, I would say. I am not going to give you a list this week because I have a headache and you probably have holiday stuff to be doing. So Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. I hope you have a great week. I hope you made something fantastic with your sticks and string. I will catch you next Monday. Bye.